Tammy Roman has never been a stranger to confrontation, controversy, or conflict. But the moment that unfolded during the conversation with Kandi Burruss, Riley Burruss, and her daughter Jazz Anderson revealed a different type of storm. One that wasn't created by producers, edited by a network, or fed by reality TV storylines. This time, there were no hotel fights, no reunion stage explosions, no basketball wives throwing glasses, and no dramatic exits from a dinner table. What happened was quieter, deeper, and far more personal, because it touched the one space Tammy Roman has always claimed to love, protect, and prioritize above everything: her role as a mother. For years, she has said that she survived the industry, survived abusive relationships, survived humiliation on television, and survived public judgment because of her daughters. Yet in one conversation, the world watched her daughter express emotional abandonment, rejection, and disappointment, caused not by strangers, not by castmates, not by tabloids, but by her own mother. Jazz Anderson did not raise her voice, did not insult her mother, and did not attack her character. She simply told the truth about her lived experience, and that truth was uncomfortable. She sat beside her mother with a calm tone and steady posture, but there was exhaustion in her voice, the exhaustion of someone who has carried a silent pain for years. She revealed that while Tammy publicly supports the idea of LGBTQ+ people and claims to accept her daughter's sexuality, she privately refuses to meet the woman her daughter loves, refuses to allow her at life milestones, and refuses to treat her relationship with the same dignity she offers to her other daughter's relationships with men. For Jazz, this wasn't just about a graduation seat or a holiday invitation. It was about being seen, being valued, and being treated equally. It was about a mother choosing conditions, time limits, and emotional distance instead of curiosity, compassion, or courage. Tammy Roman, who built a brand on speaking her mind without apology, responded in a way that stunned many viewers. Instead of listening, she explained. Instead of reflecting, she defended. Instead of acknowledging her daughter's hurt, she emphasized her own discomfort. Instead of recognizing her power as a parent, she focused on her personal boundaries. She said she needed to protect her mental health. She said she needed more time to understand. She said she wasn't comfortable. She said relationships are temporary, that Jazz changes partners, and that she should not be expected to invest in someone who might not last. She even placed a timeline on acceptance, 2 years before she would consider meeting her daughter's partner. She held a vape in her hand, exhaled the smoke, and delivered her final emotional sentence in a tone that felt detached and absolute. She did not care if waiting 2 years meant missing memories. This moment ignited the internet because it exposed a layered contradiction. Tammy has lived her adult life on television demanding respect, empathy, and understanding of her trauma. She has spoken openly about being misunderstood, mistreated, and judged. She has cried on camera about what she went through as a young woman, as a wife, and as a public figure. Yet in this moment, her daughter was asking her for the exact same grace she always wanted from others. And Tammy chose judgment instead of empathy, distance instead of closeness, and conditions instead of acceptance. Jazz wasn't asking for approval of her sexuality. She was asking for equality, presence, and participation. She wanted what her sister already had: a mother who shows up and doesn't place terms and timelines on love. What made the moment even heavier was the silence that followed Jazz's words. You could feel years of swallowed emotions surfacing all at once, not through shouting or chaos, but through disappointment. Jazz was not a rebellious teenager, not a child acting out, and not someone searching for attention. She was a grown woman, accomplished, talented, articulate, and grounded, simply asking her mother to stand beside her instead of standing in front of her as a barrier. Her voice didn't shake, but the weight of her truth could be felt in every sentence. She made it clear that she was not confused about who she was, not experimenting, and not living in secret. She was in love, she was happy, and she wanted to share her life openly, proudly, and without feeling like she had to hide from her own family. The contradiction became even sharper when Kandi Burruss and Riley Burruss naturally compared their own mother-daughter dynamic. Kandi, who has lived her own share of public scrutiny, did not hesitate to call out the inconsistency in Tammy's reasoning. She challenged her respectfully but directly. How could a mother attend graduations, dinners, and milestones for one daughter's relationships while blocking another daughter's being partner? In the room? Candi's tone wasn't judgmental. It was confused because the different rules exposed something Tammy didn't want to confront. Tammy claimed the issue was mental health and needing more time, but Jazz's simple question cut through that argument. How can you evaluate something you refuse to even look at? How can you claim to be protecting your mind when your actions are hurting somebody else's heart? How can you say you love your child unconditionally while building conditions around that love? The vape in Tammy's hand became symbolic to many viewers because instead of engaging emotionally, she exhaled smoke and disengaged. The more Jazz explained, the more Tammy retreated into her logic, her age, her generational beliefs, and her personal comfort. She repeated that she was 55, that she wasn't changing, and that she had the right to protect her peace. That sentence became a trigger point online because it exposed the cultural divide between parents who believe love should be conditional based on their comfort and children who believe love should be unconditional, especially from a parent. Viewers who once admired Tammy's strength began questioning whether her toughness had turned into emotional rigidity. As Jazz continued speaking, her voice showed the exhaustion of someone who has spent years trying to bridge a gap that she did not create. She wasn't trying to force her mother to approve of her sexuality or make Tammy love her girlfriend. She wasn't even trying to change her mother's mind. She simply wanted her mother to show up, to witness her life instead of editing it, to step into her world instead of shutting the door. She reminded Tammy that she missed special moments before, like her own wedding, which neither daughter attended. That contradiction was sharp and undeniable because Jazz wasn't asking her mother to follow rules she herself lived by. She was asking for reciprocity, for fairness. What made the moment sting for so many viewers is that Tammy Roman has lived a life shaped by abandonment, betrayal, and emotional struggle. She has spoken about childhood wounds, broken relationships, and feeling unsupported. She has expressed how those experiences hardened her and pushed her to build walls to survive. Yet without realizing it, she became the kind of emotional wall her daughter could not get through. Instead of seeing her daughter's vulnerability, she saw inconvenience. Instead of hearing a cry for inclusion, she heard a challenge to her authority. Instead of recognizing a moment to break a generational cycle, she defended the very cycle that once hurt her. Jazz's pain wasn't rooted in rebellion. It was rooted in isolation. She made it clear that she often moves through milestones alone, not because she lacks love in her personal life, but because her mother chooses to withhold her presence. She watches her sister receive support, validation, and visible acknowledgement, while she receives distance, conditions, and waiting periods. Even if unintentional, the message was clear. One daughter's happiness is familiar and therefore welcomed, while the other's is unfamiliar and therefore postponed. In that moment, the applause for Kandi Burruss wasn't because she checked Tammy, but because she represented what many believe a parent should be: present, curious, and open, even when uncomfortable. Kandi didn't claim to understand everything or agree with everything. She simply believed that love should show up. Love should sit in the audience. Love should attend graduation whether or not a relationship lasts. Love should not be withheld like a privilege a child must earn. The internet responded swiftly, passionately, and emotionally. Some defended Tammy, arguing that parents have a right to move at their own pace, but the overwhelming majority sided with Jazz because love that arrives only on the parent's schedule is not love in its fullest form. It is control disguised as protection, emotional convenience disguised as boundaries, fear disguised as principle. Tammy's stance also revealed a deeper truth about family dynamics. The parent who claims to be protecting their peace often does not see the peace they are disturbing in their children. Jazz was not asking for approval, permission, or praise. She was asking for equality, for her mother to sit in the same seat she would naturally sit in for her heterosexual daughter without hesitation, excuses, or time limits. Instead of receiving that, she was told that her joy must be filtered through her mother's comfort level. Her love must be delayed, her milestones restricted. And the pain in that was not loud, but deep. It was the kind of pain that comes from being half accepted, which for many people is more painful than not being accepted at all.